Congratulations on this movie.
Thank you.
I was reading that it took a long time to get to the screen. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, I mean, Scott and Larry wrote it a while back, and I was just going to produce it for a while, and then it took a while to get going, and then for me, after doing a bunch of big budgeted films, I just felt like I'd like to do, because I connected to the story because I grew up around this artwork, and I love the story, and I love the sort of dysfunctional relationship, and the question of what's art, what's good, and what's bad. It's something that I can relate to very much in my own life and career. So it did take a long time, but I've had projects that take 10 years. It happens sometimes, and then so it takes 10 years, and then at the last minute it's like, okay, rush and hurry and get it done, So, Amy and Christoph got involved, so it's a bit of timing and chemistry that you can't really predict.
And it worked out for the best, getting these two.
Yeah, I mean, I love, and I got to work with lots of new people that Christoph and everybody in the cast, I admired and hadn't worked with, and I'm not a very social person, so it was a great way to meet people.
Great way to hang out with them.
Yeah, well, just work with them, and because I admire each of them.
So knowing the true story behind this, did it always strike you as something that could be told well on the screen?
Well, it was a tricky one because it's so outlandish, it's like truth is stranger than fiction, like for instance in the courtroom scene, people think we went over the top when in fact we actually reined it in because it was worse than that, I mean, cross-examining himself, all that stuff, and hurting, it's one of those stories that it's so unbelievable that's what makes it exciting to me.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about the story at all, and I found that so fascinating. Would you say this is a mixture of comedy and relationship drama?
Oh yeah, well, I'm attracted to things that it's like a weird dysfunctional relationship. There's like slight Hitchcock element to me, a lot of humor because it's so absurd. And it's slightly psychological horror movie as well. I mean, it's got it all.
And I can't imagine anyone else playing the role of Walter, because Christoph Waltz, he does the brilliant thing of being charming as well as playing these bad guys.
Yeah, but he always finds a new shade. That's what I love about him. I mean, he added a certain showmanship, bravado, and salesmanship that I hadn't seen him do before. So he's very good at putting all that in, the humor, the sort of charm, and the sort of Jekyll and Hyde kind of character, and the anger, and also in there is the sadness and sort of tragedy of a guy. And so to be able to put all of that into one character, I admired very much, and not many people could do it like he does.
And not many people can change so quickly within a scene.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing. I think from what we gather, Walter was very like that, very sociopathic and very all over the place. And at the same time, for as much of a maniac as he was at the sort of forefront of, the printing of artwork or opening your own gallery and stuff that now is commonplace. Whether you like it or not, I mean, he was kind of a pioneer in that way.
And Amy Adams, I think this is a tricky role because you don't want Margaret to seem pathetic.
No, and I think that's the most delicate, intense performance I've ever been involved with, because Margaret as a person is one of the shyest, most reserved people you've ever met. But I thought Amy did an amazing, at that time, it's easy to see her as a victim, but the thing that Amy did well and Margaret has, she's got this quiet inner strength, and she's like the quietest feminist you've ever met. So she did it in her own way. I mean, she doesn't blame Walter. She's not victim. She was complicit in this lie, and even when she went to court, she wasn't doing it out of vengeance. She was doing it to sort of release the burden of telling the truth, and even when she won, she wasn't boasting about it. So her arc is under the radar, but very strong. And I thought Amy really got that amazingly.
It wasn't about her winning money at all.
No, but to be that sort of internal and quiet, but yet show this humor and strength underneath is very delicate and very, like I said, I don't think I've ever been involved in a performance that had that sort of delicacy to it.
You mentioned before doing this movie was different in terms of not having the big budget and the big special effects. Was it more freeing for you in a way?
Yeah, in some ways. I mean, it was fun to move around quickly and work with a smaller crew, and you kind of had to, do all that kind of like a student film in a way where it's quicker. But that's great. It kind of the energy is good, and then you're not burdened by the extras that go along with making a bigger film. No Burger King tie-ins and KFC Big Eye meals or whatever. So I think that was pleasant to not have to deal with that, even though you deal with that on bigger things because that's part of the job as well. But to just focus on the film was a real pleasure.
And this film has a lot to say about art, like you mentioned. What do you see it being about underneath it all?
Well, I think it's a question that can't be answered, and I think it's how people perceive things. And I've been through that myself. So people see that's light, and another person will see the same thing, say that's really dark, and that's art, that's not. And I think it's not just about art; it's about people and relationships that way, and how people see other cultures. And I mean, so it just sort of presents the question. There's no real answer to it, but for me, it's something I've dealt with a lot and deal with a lot, and I think is an interesting sort of question.
And I definitely related to the relationship side of things when you can get lost in one thing. It's like you wake up from a trance. And go,
No. I mean, I don't know anybody, myself included, that you get out of a relationship, you go like, how did why did I do that for so long?
Yeah.
I mean, you could say that. I don't know anybody that hasn't done that.
Good. It's not just me.
No.
Thank you so much.
Nice to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC movie talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.